Did you know Elvis Presley made television history without even stepping foot in America? Remember when the king conquered the world via satellite? Elvis Presley's Aloha from Hawaii concert, broadcast live via satellite on January 14, 1973, stands as one of the most iconic performances in music history. This groundbreaking event reached an estimated audience of over 1.5 billion viewers across more than 40 countries, making it the most watched broadcast by an individual entertainer in television history at that time. While mega hits like Burning Love, Suspicious Minds, and Can't Help Falling in Love rightfully get tons of attention from this historic concert, there are numerous magical moments that often slip under the radar. These hidden gems showcase Elvis's extraordinary versatility, his connection with audiences, and the incredible musicianship that made this Hawaiian spectacle so unforgettable. Let's uncover these treasures that even some devoted Elvis fans might have missed or underappreciated. These moments reveal a performer at the peak of his powers, even as personal struggles began to take their toll behind the scenes. The concert represented Elvis reclaiming his crown after years of Hollywood movies had diminished his musical legacy. The Aloha concert wasn't just a performance. It was a statement. Are you ready to discover the overlooked brilliance that makes Aloha from Hawaii even more remarkable than you realized? Number 1. What Now, My Love? Elvis's breathtaking vocal control. Have you ever heard a singer hold a note so perfectly it sends shivers down your spine? Did you know Elvis could deliver French chanson with the same authenticity as rock and roll? When Elvis took on Edith Piaf's heartbreaking classic What Now, My Love, originally Et Me Tent, few expected the depth of emotion he'd bring to this sophisticated European standard. The arrangement starts deceptively simple before building to a dramatic climax, where Elvis holds an incredible note that showcases his exceptional breath control and vocal power. This performance demonstrates Elvis's remarkable ability to cross musical boundaries. What makes this moment particularly special is how Elvis transforms from rock and roll rebel to sophisticated vocal interpreter. Dressed in his iconic white American Eagle jumpsuit adorned with colorful stones, Elvis stands perfectly still during this number, letting his voice do all the work. The contrast between his flamboyant appearance and the restrained vocal delivery creates an unforgettable tension. Elvis's musical director, Joe Guercio, later recalled, "When he held that note in What Now, My Love, you could feel the electricity in the room. Every musician on stage was blown away. Even though we'd rehearsed it countless times, that's when you knew you were in the presence of something truly special." The historical context makes this performance even more poignant. By 1973, Elvis was struggling with personal issues and health problems, yet here he delivers a technically flawless performance that rivals anything from his younger years. The song choice itself reveals his sophisticated musical taste that extended far beyond the rock and roll that made him famous. Interestingly, the song wasn't initially planned for the set list. Elvis added it after hearing a version by Barbra Streisand and deciding he could bring something unique to the arrangement. This spontaneous addition became one of the concert's most breathtaking moments, demonstrating Elvis's artistic instincts were still sharply intact. Number 2. It's Over. The forgotten emotional center of the concert. Can a single song reveal the hidden pain behind a performer's smile? What happens when Elvis Presley channels raw heartbreak into a little-known ballad? In a concert filled with upbeat crowd pleasers and familiar hits, Elvis's rendition of "It's Over" provides a startlingly intimate moment that many casual viewers overlook. This Roy Orbison composition allows Elvis to display his remarkable gift for storytelling through song as he communicates the devastation of romantic loss with palpable emotion. The performance gains additional resonance when viewed through the lens of Elvis's personal life. By 1973, his marriage to Priscilla was dissolving. They would officially divorce later that year, lending authentic pain to lyrics about the end of a relationship. While never explicitly connecting the song to his marriage, the vulnerability in Elvis's delivery suggests personal investment in the material. "It's Over" Shanks' Elvis's gift for dynamics, starting softly and building to powerful emotional peaks. His voice breaks at precisely the right moments, not from technical weakness but as an artistic choice that enhances the song's emotional impact. The camera catches brief glimpses of what appears to be genuine sadness crossing his face during the performance. Elvis historian Ernst Jorgensen noted, "People forget that Elvis was an incredibly sensitive interpreter of sad songs. It's Over in the Aloha concert shows him at his most emotionally translucent. There's nowhere to hide in a ballad like that, broadcast to over 1 billion people." The song also highlights the exceptional Memphis Mafia band backing Elvis, particularly James Burton's subtle guitar work and Ronnie Tutt's perfectly restrained drumming that never overpowers the emotional narrative of the song. The orchestra swells at exactly the right moments, creating a cinematic quality that enhances rather than distracts from the central performance. "It's Over" never reached the popularity of many Elvis standards, which makes its inclusion in such a career-defining concert all the more interesting. It reveals Elvis as an artist, still taking chances and putting material he personally connected with, rather than simply recycling his biggest hits. Number 3. "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry," honoring his country roots. Did you know Elvis Presley considered Hank Williams one of his greatest influences? What happens when the king of rock and roll reveals his country soul to over 1 billion viewers? Amid the spectacle and grandeur of the Aloha concert, Elvis's stripped-down performance of Hank Williams' "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry" provides a moment of stunning simplicity. This performance connects Elvis to his earliest musical influences and reminds the world that beneath the jumpsuits and showmanship was a boy from Tupelo, Mississippi, deeply rooted in country music traditions. What makes this performance particularly special is how Elvis introduces it. "I'd like to sing a song that's probably the saddest song I've ever heard," he tells the audience with sincere reverence. This brief commentary reveals his genuine respect for Williams as a juckumer and sets the tone for the heartfelt performance that follows. The arrangement is deliberately ministosed, featuring James Burton's delicate guitar work and the softest of rhythm accompaniments. Elvis sings with closed eyes through much of the song, seemingly transported to a more intimate space, despite performing in an arena and being broadcast globally. His phrasing pays homage to Williams' original, while adding subtle inflections that make the interpretation distinctly his own. Country music historian Robert K. Orman observed, "When Elvis performed 'I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry' during the Aloha concert, he was acknowledging his debt to country music at the very moment of his greatest international exposure. It was both a personal statement and a music history lesson for the 1 billion people watching." The song choice is particularly meaningful, considering the global audience. Rather than choosing material that would seem obviously American to international viewers, Elvis selected a deeply personal song that represented his authentic musical roots. This willingness to share his musical DNA rather than simply entertain demonstrates an artistic integrity that transcended his showbiz persona. Elvis recorded the song previously for his acclaimed 1973 studio album, Elvis Country. But the Aloha version has a vulnerability that even the studio recording doesn't capture. The slight catch in his voice and the distant look in his eyes suggest he's connecting to the song's themes of isolation, something that resonated with him despite being surrounded by entourage and adoration. Number 4. An American Trilogy, the overlooked political statement. Can a medley of folk songs become a powerful statement on American identity? Did Elvis Presley use his global platform to comment on the divisions in American society? While An American Trilogy is certainly recognized as a highlight of the Aloha concert, what's often overlooked is the bold political subtext of Elvis choosing this particular arrangement for his global broadcast. The medley combines Dixie, the unofficial anthem of the Confederacy, the battle hymn of the Republic, associated with the Union during the Civil War, and the spiritual All My Trials, into one cohesive musical statement. In January 1973, America was deeply divided over the Vietnam War and still working through the civil rights tensions of the previous decade. Against this backdrop, Elvis's decision to perform a medley that symbolically united disparate American traditions carried significant weight. He wasn't just entertaining, he was making a statement about the possibility of national harmony during troubled times. The arrangement itself, created by country singer Mickey Newberry, is masterful, with Elvis and his team enhancing the dramatic build through precise orchestration. Beginning with the gentle, almost apologetic opening notes of Dixie, the piece transforms through the spiritual depths of All My Trials before erupting into the triumphant battle hymn of the Republic, complete with soaring high notes that demonstrate Elvis's remarkable vocal range. Cultural historian Grail Marcus later wrote, Elvis's American Trilogy performance wasn't just musical entertainment. It was a nuanced commentary on American identity, offered up to the entire world. The fact that he could communicate something so complex to song without any explanatory preamble, unlike any other. What makes this performance particularly special is Elvis's physical transformation throughout the piece. He begins contemplatively, almost solemnly, but by the final crescendo he is fully embodying the music with outstretched arms and a passionate expression that communicates both pain and transcendence. The camera captures a single tear on his cheek during one particularly emotional moment. Given that Elvis generally avoided explicit political statements throughout his career, this performance represents a rare intersection of his artistic and civic voices. The choice to include this complex meditation on American identity in a broadcast reaching communist countries like China and the Soviet Union added additional layers of meaning that went beyond mere entertainment. Number 5. Steamroller Blues. Elvis embraces contemporary blues. Rock. Did Elvis Presley secretly want to be a blues artist? How did the king prove he could still be relevant in the age of rock revolutionaries like James Taylor? When Elvis launched into Steamroller Blues during the Aloha concert, he demonstrated his ability to incorporate contemporary material with the same conviction he brought to his classics. Originally written and recorded by James Taylor in 1970, this blues rock number was barely 3 years old when Elvis performed it for over 1 billion viewers, proving he wasn't just a nostalgia act, but an artist engaged with current music trends. The performance showcases a grittier Elvis than many casual fans recognize. He attacks the blues phrasings with authentic growls and an aggressive vocal approach that connects him to his earliest Sun Record days. This wasn't Elvis the movie star or Elvis the Vegas entertainer. This was Elvis the musician, displaying his deep understanding of blues traditions. What makes this performance particularly noteworthy is the contrast it creates within the concert. coming between more polished, produced numbers. Steamroller Blues has a raw energy that changes the emotional temperature of the show. Elvis seems liberated during this performance, moving with more spontaneity and engaging with the band more actively than during some of the more choreographed moments. James Burton's electric guitar work deserves special mention here, as he provides the perfect bluesy foundation for Elvis to build upon. The interplay between Elvis and Burton during this number highlights the genuine musical communication happening on stage, something that transcends mere entertainment and enters the realm of authentic artistic expression. Music journalist Dave Marsh noted, "Elvis performing Steamroller Blues in 1973 was a revelation. It silenced critics who claimed he'd lost touch with contemporary music and reminded everyone that beneath the jumpsuit was a man who still understood the fundamental power of the blues." The song would later be released as a single from the concert album, reaching the top 20 in the US charts, further validating Elvis's instinct that this relatively obscure James Taylor composition deserved wider recognition. This commercial success underscored Elvis's continuing ability to identify and interpret material that resonated with audiences. Number 6. You Gave Me a Mountain, Elvis's autobiographical moment. Can a song tell the true story behind a superstar's smile? What pain was Elvis Presley really sharing when he sang about mountains he couldn't climb? When Elvis performed Marty Robbins' "You Gave Me a Mountain" during the Aloha concert, he delivered what many Elvis historians consider his most autobiographical moment of the broadcast. Though he didn't write the lyrics, which speak of personal trials, including losing custody of a child, the parallels to his own life situation in 1973 were striking, particularly as his divorce from Priscilla involved difficult arrangements regarding their daughter Lisa Marie. Elvis transforms the country narrative into a deeply personal testimony, using his remarkable vocal range to communicate feelings of betrayal, loss, and perseverance. The performance builds from a measured, almost spoken delivery to explosive emotional peaks that showcase his vocal power and control. What makes this interpretation special is how Elvis phrases certain lines with subtle emphasis that seems to connect them directly to his own experiences. The camera captures fascinating close-ups during this performance, revealing flashes of what appears to be genuine pain crossing Elvis's face as he sings about life's struggles. These unguarded moments provide rare glimpses behind the carefully constructed public persona Elvis typically maintained. Elvis historian Peter Guralnick observed, "When Elvis sings, 'You Gave Me a Mountain,' especially during the Aloha broadcast, you're witnessing a man using someone else's song to tell his own truth. It's as close to autobiography as Elvis ever got in his performances, and it's devastating precisely because he never ex-bodied acknowledges the connection." Musically, the arrangement supports this emotional journey, with the orchestra providing dramatic swells that enhance rather than overwhelm Elvis's vocal storytelling. Particularly effective is the restrained rhythm section during the verses, allowing Elvis's voice to dominate the sonic landscape before the full band joins for the emotional chorus. The song wasn't part of Elvis's regular repertoire until the early 1970s, making its prominent placement in his career-defining broadcast particularly significant. By choosing to include such emotionally raw material in a global broadcast, Elvis revealed a willingness to share his vulnerability with the world, a surprisingly intimate choice for what was essentially the biggest stage of his career. Number 7. My Way, the surprise omission from the original broadcast. Did millions of viewers miss one of Elvis's most powerful performances? What happened to the song that perfectly captured Elvis's defiant spirit? One of the most fascinating aspects of the Aloha from Hawaii concert is what viewers didn't see during the original broadcast. Elvis delivered a stunning rendition of My Way during the concert, but this performance was omitted from the initial worldwide telecast due to time constraints. This decision inadvertently created one of the most underappreciated gems in the Elvis catalog. The performance was later included in the American broadcast and subsequent album releases, allowing fans to discover what many consider one of Elvis's definitive interpretations of this signature song. His approach to Paul Anka's composition, made famous by Frank Sinatra, avoids mere imitation, instead bringing a defensive vulnerability that contrasts with Sinatra's more assertive reading. What makes Elvis's My Way particularly poignant is how the lyrics about a life lived on one's own terms resonate with Elvis's complex relationship with fame and artistic control. By 1973, Elvis had experienced tremendous highs and significant lows in both his professional and personal life. His delivery suggests he's not just performing the song, but reflecting on his own journey. Elvis biographer Alan Nash wrote, "There's something almost confessional about Elvis singing My Way during the Aloha concert. The lyrics about regrets, I've had a few, take on special significance attended fame, but sacrificed much personal freedom and feminicate, but sacrificed much personal for subtext text." The arrangement builds dramatically, with Elvis starting in a conversational tone before building to emotional climaxes that showcase his remarkable vocal power. Particularly affecting is his delivery of the line, "I did it my way," which he imbues with a complex mix of pride, defiance, and what sounds like a hint of questioning, as if he's simultaneously declaring and asking himself about the choices he's made. Technical aspects of the performance are equally impressive. Elvis's breath control during the sustained notes demonstrates his continued vocal mastery, while his phrasing shows sophisticated understanding of the song's emotional architecture. The orchestra provides a cinematic backdrop that enhances the narrative quality of the performance. The song's exclusion from the original global broadcast created an interesting historical arc, as My Way would later become one of Elvis's most recognized latter-day signatures, frequently performed during his final tours and eventually played at his funeral in 1977. This makes the rediscovered Aloha version particularly significant as documentation of Elvis developing his interpretation of what would become a defining song. Number 8. Welcome to My World, the intimate invitation. Can a superstar truly make a billion people feel personally welcomed? What happens when Elvis Presley extends an intimate invitation to the entire world? In the midst of spectacular production numbers and energetic rock performances, Elvis's gentle rendition of Welcome to My World provides a disarmingly intimate moment that many viewers overlook. This Jim Reeves country standard becomes, in Elvis's hands, a personal greeting to his global audience, transforming what could have been just another ballad into a meaningful connection between artist and audience. What makes this performance particularly special is how Elvis seems to address each viewer individually, despite the massive scale of the broadcast. He sings with eyes often looking directly into the camera, creating the illusion of personal connection with millions of people simultaneously. This ability to make each audience member feel personally addressed was one of Elvis's most remarkable gifts. The arrangement is deliberately understated, featuring gentle acoustic guitar and subtle orchestration that creates space for Elvis's warm, inviting vocal. His phrasing is conversational and relaxed, contrasting with the more dramatic vocal techniques displayed elsewhere in the concert. This performance highlights Elvis's often overlooked gift for restraint and nuance. Music journalist Chet Filippo noted, Elvis singing Welcome to My World during the Aloha broadcast was a masterclass in audience connection. With the entire world watching, he somehow made it feel like he was singing just to you. That's the magic that separated Elvis across any distance. The song choice itself reveals Elvis's understanding of the historic nature of the broadcast. Rather than simply performing hit after hit, he recognized the need to acknowledge the unprecedented global connection happening through satellite technology. "Welcome to My World" served as the perfect metaphorical handshake with viewers across continents and cultures. Elvis's body language during this performance is notably different from his more animated numbers. He stands relatively still, using minimal gestures and relying primarily on facial expressions to communicate the song's welcoming message. This physical restraint focuses attention on the lyrics and the genuine warmth in his delivery. The performance gains additional resonance when considered against Elvis's complicated relationship with his own fame. Often isolated by his celebrity despite being surrounded by people, Elvis found genuine connection with audiences through music. "Welcome to My World" can be viewed as not just an invitation to his musical world, but a rare moment of authentic personal connection for someone often separated from normal human interaction. Number 9. I'll Remember You. Elvis's Hawaiian Tribute. How did Elvis honor Hawaiian culture during his groundbreaking broadcast? What local song choice revealed his deep respect for the islands that hosted his historic concert? Among the many carefully selected songs in the Aloha from Hawaii concert, Elvis's performance of "I'll Remember You" stands as a thoughtful tribute to the Hawaiian islands and culture. Written by Hawaiian composer Kui Lee, who had passed away from cancer in 1966, the song demonstrates Elvis's respect for local musical traditions and his desire to acknowledge the significance of the broadcast location. What makes this performance particularly meaningful is how Elvis approaches the song with appropriate reverence rather than treating it as an exotic novelty. His interpretation honors the Hawaiian origins, while bringing his own emotional depth to the material. The result is a cross-cultural musical moment that resonates with authenticity and respect. The arrangement beautifully incorporates traditional Hawaiian musical elements, while maintaining consistency with the overall sound of the concert. Charlie Hodges' subtle backing vocals add dimension without distracting from Elvis's lead, while James Burton's guitar work complements the melody with tasteful restraint. Hawaiian music historian George Kanahail commented, "Elvis choosing Kui Lee's I'll Remember You for the Aloha concert showed remarkable cultural sensitivity. He could have easily gone for something more stereotypically Hawaiian for international audiences, but instead selected a song with deep meaning for locals. It didn't go unnoticed or unappreciated by Hawaiians." This performance also connects to Elvis's personal history with Hawaii, a place he had visited multiple times since the 1950s and had featured in several of his films. His affection for the islands was well known, and "I'll Remember You" serves as a musical acknowledgement of this special relationship. Elvis's vocal approach incorporates subtle inflections that suggest he studied Hawaiian musical traditions, particularly in how he handles certain phrases with a gentleness that echoes island musical aesthetics. This attention to cultural detail reflects a deeper engagement with the material than might be expected. The song's themes of remembrance and farewell gain additional poignancy when viewed in historical context. This would be Elvis's last major appearance in Hawaii, a place that had played a significant role in his career. Though no one could have known it at the time, "I'll Remember You" served as a fitting musical goodbye to the islands that had welcomed him so warmly over the years. Number 10. Q.U.I. Po, the surprise Hawaiian language performance. Did you know Elvis Presley could sing in Hawaiian? Would you believe the king mastered a local language song for his satellite spectacular? Perhaps the most overlooked gem in the entire Aloha from Hawaii concert is Elvis's performance of Ku Ui Po, Hawaiian for My Sweetheart. This brief but significant moment chunks Elvis singing partially in the Hawaiian language, a respectful nod to the local culture that many international viewers might have missed entirely. What makes this performance particularly special is the obvious care Elvis took to pronounce the Hawaiian lyrics correctly. Despite not being a Hawaiian speaker, Elvis worked with local advisors to ensure his delivery was authentic and respectful, rather than caricatured. This attention to cultural detail reveals a thoughtfulness that contradicts the simplified view of Elvis as merely a flashy entertainer. The song originally appeared in Elvis's 1961 film, Blue Hawaii, but the Aloha concert version has a maturity and sincerity that surpasses the movie version. Elvis approaches the material with genuine affection rather than treating it as an exotic novelty, creating a moment of cross-cultural appreciation that transcends typical tourist treatments of Hawaiian music. Hawaiian cultural historian Keala Kwan observed, "When Elvis performed Ku Ui Po during the Aloha concert, he showed remarkable respect for Hawaiian language and tradition. Many mainland performers would simply aprakana Kalayan sounds, but Elvis clearly made an effort to honor the proper pronunciation. But Elvis clo unnoticed by local Hawaiians watching the broadcast. The arrangement is deliberately simple, featuring gentle guitar accompaniment that allows the focus to remain on Elvis's careful vocal delivery. This understated approach creates an intimate moment amidst the more elaborate production numbers, providing a musical palate cleanser that highlights Elvis's versatility as a performer. Elvis's comfort with the material reflects his multiple experiences filming in Hawaii and his genuine appreciation for the island's culture. The ease with which he transitions between English and Hawaiian lyrics suggests significant preparation for what amounts to a relatively brief moment in the overall concert, an indication of his professional commitment to every aspect of the performance. The inclusion of Ku Ui Po in such a career-defining broadcast demonstrates Elvis's understanding that he wasn't just performing in Hawaii, but for Hawaii, acknowledging his hosts with material specifically meaningful to the local audience, even as he reached viewers across the globe. Did Elvis's ground ring aloha from Hawaii concert forever change how we experience live music through technology? When will another performer connect with over 1 billion people through sheer charisma and musical authenticity?